All right, welcome to Lecture 2 of Unit 8 of English 2. As I said in the previous lecture, we're going to be doing a lot of speaking in this lecture. Let's start with the speaking task 1 on page 61. You can do this with a partner or by yourself. We're just really going to be practicing a lot of the language we learned in the starter activity after the grammar lecture. So we have these different situations, and they are, you're going to be talking about different situations. Okay. We talk about the likely outcomes. Okay. So as we talked before, there's a resulting activity. Look at the example. One student will ask, what will happen if he falls? Okay, so the situation right now is he is skiing. Okay, so he is skiing. That's what he is doing right now. What will happen if he falls? So if he falls, he will break his leg. So again, now he's skiing. If the situation changes and he falls, this activity here, this action, is what will happen. Okay. So in each of these, you're given a subject and a verb, and here you're given again a resulting action. Okay. So the consequences of this new situation. Okay. All right. One person will be A, the other B. You can switch every picture. If you're doing this alone, you can do it yourself. You can take both roles. Okay. So press pause, and then we'll do a quick review when you're done. Okay, let's see how we did with each of these. Okay. The first one. What will happen if she drives fast? What will happen if she drives fast? She will get a ticket. So that's the activity. She drives fast. The result, she will get a ticket. So a cause and effect. Next one. What will happen if he eats too much? Okay. He will feel sick. If he eats too much, he will feel sick. Although the food looks pretty healthy, but not too much. What will happen if the flowers freeze? Okay. If the flowers freeze, they will die. Okay. The flowers will die if they freeze. Okay. And finally, what will happen if she kicks the ball? She will score a goal. Okay. She will score a goal if she kicks the ball. Notice with the third one here, okay, we're talking about more than one thing. So the verb does not take a third person S. Okay, so if she drives fast, if he eats too much, if she kicks the ball, okay, these all have a third person S. Okay, but we're talking about more than one flower, so this does not need a third person S. Okay. What will happen if the flower freezes? If the flower freezes, it will die. Okay, so just be careful of that. Okay. Good. So again, we're talking about the third person or third people, and we are talking about these resulting outcomes, these likely outcomes if these situations happen. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing on the next page, there to page 62. And you and a partner are going to be speaking again. You'll be talking about these individuals. Okay. Now, in this case, the likely outcome is that people are going to stay inside. Okay, now I won't go into other situations where you might have to stay inside all day. But in this case, the specific situation, is if it rains tomorrow. Okay, so you don't 100% know what the weather will be like tomorrow. We can make guesses. In this case, we're going to be ready. If it rains tomorrow, what will we do? It's a common enough question. But in this case, you're going to ask your partner what these people will do, what these other people will do in their situations. Okay, so I guess you know these people quite well, and you can talk about them. Let's read the example. We're going to be talking about not you and not me. We're going to talk about Floyd and Michelle. So what about Floyd and Michelle? What will they do if it rains tomorrow? Okay. They will go to a coffee shop. So that's the likely outcome. Maybe they were going to go for a hike. Maybe they were going to drive out of town. But maybe they'll do something inside. Maybe not inside their house, but they will go somewhere, just not very far. Okay. So you can do the same when you talk about Don and Karen, Scarlett, as well as Anthony and Mark. Okay. And these other groups of people down here: Lucy, Daniela, Ross, Tiffany and Winston, as well as Isabella, Katie, Linda, and Edward. Okay. These are all people who may have had plans, but if it rains tomorrow, they may have to make different plans. Okay, so talk about this with a partner. If you are alone, you can read both turns, and we'll review this when we get back. Okay, so press pause, and then we'll review. Okay, let's see how you did. I'll go through these. You can compare my answers to your own. Okay, so what will Don and Karen do if it rains tomorrow? They will watch old movies. Right. That's what they're going to do. They're going to sit on the couch. They will sit on the couch and they will watch old movies. Okay. All right, next one. What about Scarlett? What will Scarlett do if it rains tomorrow? She will take a long bath. Okay. Next question. What will Anthony and Mark do if it rains tomorrow? They will play a board game. Okay. What about Lucy and Daniela? What will Lucy and Daniela do if it rains tomorrow? They will bake cookies. And Ross? What will Ross do if it rains tomorrow? He will read a book. Okay, good. And what about Tiffany and Winston? What will Tiffany and Winston do if it rains tomorrow? Okay, they will go for a walk. Okay, so that doesn't change anything. Get the umbrella and out they go. What will Isabella do if it rains tomorrow? She will stay in bed. What will Katie and Linda do if it rains tomorrow? They will study in the library. What will Edward do if it rains tomorrow? He will practice the piano. Okay, so simple enough. There's not much to change with that. So, but we know what they will do if it rains. Okay, so if it rains tomorrow, Don and Karen will watch old movies. Okay, and if it rains tomorrow, Scarlett will take a long bath. there's not much verb conjugation. We're using a modal for each of these. So they will go, he will go, she will go, it will go, we will go. All of these are the same with the modal in this case. Good. Okay, so again, that was pretty easy enough. Let's continue on to the next page, page 63, and we'll do some language activities. So again, there's not much verb conjugation in this activity. Most of it would happen here. So with the if clause, you'd have a subject and a verb, and that's for the conjugation. So what will Floyd and Michelle do if I rain tomorrow, or if we rain? That doesn't make any sense, but you can see that's the change there. And these ones, you're using the modal, and that just goes with the verb right away. Okay. In the question, of course, the subject will come between the modal and the verb here. Okay, so what will I do? What will you do? What will they do in this case? Okay. Now you'll see that structure in the self-practice here on page 63. Quite simply, it says complete the sentences. Okay, so it's a language activity, so no real situations here. Complete the sentences using the verbs in parentheses. So it's parentheses here, here. Okay. It says add will when appropriate. Okay. So do you know exactly when you are using the word will? Right? We've studied it in the grammar and in the past two language activities. Here's an example. If he eats breakfast, he will eat cereal. Okay. Maybe a better phrase is when he eats breakfast, he always eats cereal. Okay, that sounds, so it's grammatically correct. It just sounds a bit strange pragmatically. I think his favorite breakfast is cereal. Is another way to convey that. Okay, but the grammar, the language is good. Okay, so when he eats breakfast, that's what he eats. Okay. So in other situations from numbers 1 through 8, sunny weather, arriving late, coming early. Okay, but notice the grammar that we have studied so far, or how the language works with each of these situations. Okay. All right, so just fill in the blanks. Shouldn't be too difficult, but we'll do a review when you are finished. So press pause, do the activity in your book, and then we can continue. All right, welcome back. So we'll use the ebook for reviewing this activity, as I like to do. We'll see how we do with this. So in each of these sentences, you have to write in the verbs that are written in parentheses and use the word will when appropriate. Now, so you've got different forms of or different methods of writing these sentences. Sometimes it begins with the if clause, and sometimes they begin with the resulting clause, the consequence clause, I guess. So number 1, okay, much like the example, if the weather be sunny, am sunny, is sunny. So if it is sunny, okay, so we describe it as sunny. What's the verb? Go. I will go to the beach. Okay, so again, if this happens, I will go to the beach. If it rains, I will not go to the beach. Okay, correct. Let's skip number 2 for now. Let's go to number 3. So she visit Rome if she go to Europe. Okay, so if she goes to Europe, she will visit Rome. Okay? Or she will visit Rome if she goes to Europe. Okay? If she does not go to Europe, she cannot visit Rome. Okay, good. We're going to skip number 4. Go to number 5. If you buy groceries, I cook dinner. Okay? I think that communicates well enough on its own. But the if clause, if you buy groceries, if you buy the groceries, I will cook dinner. Okay? So maybe they can't buy, maybe he can't cook dinner without the groceries, or maybe he just doesn't want to. But those are the consequences, okay, or the result. If this event happens, I will do this. Okay. So again, with all these situations, we're talking about things that could very well happen. Number 6, he will give you the file if he sees you tomorrow. If he sees you tomorrow, he will give you the file. If he doesn't see you, he can't give you the file. Huh? He will give you the file All right, let's check that out. What's the real answer? For the answer, I put will give and sees. It looks like I'm correct. Okay, that was correct the first time I did it. Anyway, that is correct. He will give you this file. Let's try number 7. If you want to study together, if the two of you want to study together, or if you want to study together with me, I will meet you in the library. Good. Okay. So in this condition, okay, if you want to study together, I will meet you. If you don't want to study together, I won't meet you in the library. 8, they will see each other. Okay, so I already know will goes in this clause because there's no if clause. With if, you just need the verb. If they work together, they will see each other often. All right, number 2. Let's try number 4. If they arrive late, I will be upset. So the if clause is first. If they arrive, good, not they arrives. If they arrive late, I will be upset. Okay. So notice here in number 1, we're using the be verb in the if clause. So if the weather is sunny, I will go. Here you're using a modal, will. So the be verb does not conjugate. Okay. But here it's all by itself. It's just the subject, the verb, and the adjective. Okay. Number 4, correct? Good. Number 2, I'm leaving here. I blank wait if you come early. So there's no, so I will wait if you come early. Okay, correct? Correct. The problem is this sentence does not make any sense. I will wait if you come early. No, I think you will wait if you come early. Okay, or I will wait if you come late. Okay, if you come early, I think you're doing the waiting. Okay, good. So it doesn't seem to make any sense. So the grammar is correct, but it doesn't communicate clearly. I'm very confused. Okay, all right. So again, number 2, confused, but good grammar. And number 6, I also got wrong, apparently, but everything is correct. He will give you the file if he sees you tomorrow. Okay. So again, with all the if clauses, we're just simply showing the verb, and then the resulting clause has will. So that's why we call first conditional. So if is the conditional with will. And with will, you don't change or conjugate the verb. You just use the basic form. Okay? But with the if, you need to conjugate. If he eats, if I eat, that changes. Okay? Now, did you get all those correct? If you have the ebook, again, you can do this over and over in preparation for the midterm, or sorry, for the quiz, or for the writing test. And that should work for you. All right, let's continue down to the next speaking activity. Okay, so the bottom of page 63, we have a classroom activity. This can be done in a group or just a pair of people, or you can try this on your own. Okay, if you try it on your own, of course, you could write out the answers. You could make this a writing activity. See if you can do it on your own speaking. This is something we call a chain. Okay, it says one student thinks of a conditional statement. Okay, or in this case, you can just read letter A. Okay, if the cafeteria is closed today, I will eat at a restaurant. Okay, so that's a conditional statement. Okay, so the condition, on this condition, if this happens, or this is the situation, the consequence, I will eat at a restaurant. Okay? Then the other students continue the chain or continue the conversation with more conditional statements. Okay? Okay? As it says, taking the first consequence of the input for the next possible situation. Okay, good. So if the cafeteria is closed today, I will eat at the restaurant. If you eat at a restaurant, you might spend all your money. Okay. So again, so that consequence becomes the situation for the next if clause. So you're building on, you're continuing on all these situations. So if you eat at a restaurant, you might spend all your money. If you spend all your money, you will probably walk home. Okay, so that's the consequence there. And if you walk home, you will definitely be late for dinner. If you are late for dinner, your mom will get angry. So you see this chain, this series of resulting actions, these series of consequences. So what's next? If your mom gets angry, she will yell at you. Okay, so she will shout at you. Okay? If your mom shouts at you, your dog will get scared. Okay, so I'm just making these up. I'm just creating these. Try this on your own or with your partner or with a group of people. I don't know how you're studying, but see if you can continue this chain. Okay? And then we'll come back. Okay, how did that go? Did you get lots of extra turns? Okay, I only got 2. Maybe you were able to continue the story very long. Now, number 2, down here, it's just really the same activity, but they're giving you different conditional sentences, or just the conditional clauses. Number 1, if class is canceled tomorrow. Okay, I'm not sure if that's very appropriate right now, but if class is canceled tomorrow, I will not go to campus. If I don't go to campus, I will go to Nampodong. Okay? And you can just continue on for there. So try it with these other prompts right here. I won't review these, but this is a good time to practice, or a good opportunity to practice the questions out loud. Okay, so do that on your own and practice that. And when we're finished, I'll see you on page 64. All right, for our last activity, this is something you can do for fun. You can do it on your own as a language practice, but it could be fun. It's possibly a game. There's no real strategy to it. Just by rolling a die or some other method, you can move your pieces around the board here on page 64. It's just a series of statements, and you have to change them into the proper form. So for the first example here, you're going to put all your playing pieces here, and when you write in, you're given this incomplete sentence. So you're given two verbs, see and have. You're also given a subject. So we're talking about some other man, not in our conversation. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to have to either conjugate one of these verbs, because we're using the third person, and the other verb will get the word will. So in the example here, if he has a cold, he will see a doctor. Okay, so the if clause, you'd have to conjugate the verb have, okay, as we have here. So it's not if he have a cold. If he has a cold, he will see a doctor. Okay, so one verb gets conjugated. Okay, good. So sometimes the sentences begin with the if clause, and sometimes, in fact, they end with it. Okay, so sometimes you get down to these green squares. The if clause is at the end of the sentence. So the subject is you. So for this one, you will be healthy if you eat well. Okay, so again, no verb conjugation. The subject is you. Okay, but if you're using he, she, or it, right, you'll have to conjugate, you have to change those verbs. Okay. So I'll let you play that or practice that or do that. You can do that now or some other time, but if you don't need to do it now, that's fine. But you can come back, you can do this in your book or on your own, and you can review it. Okay. All right, good luck with that, and I'll see you next week with Unit 9.